watching Supreme Master Television.
We invite you to listen to the following discussion entitled, We Are Always Together, by Supreme Master Ching Hai with association members during the 3-day European International Retreat in Hamburg, Germany on August the 25th to the 27th, 1995.
Okay, there is a story about a Zen master and an emperor. So in the old time, many kings and great emperor like to study with a great wise master in order so that they will be wiser and then they can take care of the nation and the state affair in a better way. It happens in China, it happens in India, it happens in Japan. Yeah, that the emperors, the kings, most often go to a wise, so-called wise practicing master and ask for advice about state affair. So here is one of the story in Japan. There was a Japan's emperor. His name is Gozosei. We don't have to know. All the kings die anyhow. Yeah? Even you're the great king, you know more. The king sometimes is a great practitioner themselves. Yeah? For example, in Vietnam, this is just introduction. It's not come to the story yet. In Vietnam, there were many kings who were under the influence of great Zen master or Buddhist master or Taoist master. As you know already, different background of religion doesn't mean different in enlightenment if we have the source of wisdom connected to us. Okay. So there was one king. He was very, very famous about being very loving, compassionate. And most often he go out and then looking at his subjects and seeing how they live their life to see whether he can help them in any way. So one day he went outside and he saw a very sick person, very old, sick and poor, laying on the roadside and die without much clothes on his body. Perhaps he was very poor, perhaps he had disaster like flood or earthquake and then his house was destroyed and then he has no job and then he just died with poverty and cold. It was a winter night. And when the king, the Vietnamese king, saw the dead body, almost half naked, he took off his own royal robe and wrapped around that person. It just shows that he was a very compassionate king. His name is Lý Thánh Tông. I don't know how to translate it into English. We don't need to. It means Lý is his familiar name, yeah, just like Müller or yes, and yeah, Clinton, for example, yeah, familiar name. And then Thánh Tông means very respected saint, yeah. So the name is the king's name is mean a very respected saint, sage. So anyhow, he was truly a very respected wise sage of his time. So under his rule, the Vietnam country, the Olac country, was very, very prosperous and people were very happy. But of course, there are always some, special case that he can never taken care of, like in most of the country. Even like in America, the most famous for being rich and powerful, huh? And the American people are supposed to be the guide of the world, the policemen of the world, because they're powerful, they have money, they have weapons, and they can protect many of the small country, and they have great influence of the world. That's what everybody think, or some of the people think. But still, in America, if you stay there long, or if you go there sometime and you pay attention, then you see a lot of people homeless, yeah, and they shiver in the winter without much belonging. Sometimes they have only a coat on their body, huh? And they don't have any possession at all. They will go from one place to another, and they beg for food, for sometimes a shelter or a little job so that they can survive. Or they look into the garbage. And whenever I can, I always stop the car and give them something. Sometimes the men look very healthy and strong, but they also beg on the street. And sometimes the driver, my driver, or my disciple who drives, they tell me that, oh, Master, this man, he doesn't look like he needs money, you know. But I say, never mind. If he asks, we give him. Because he must be very, very desperate in order to forget his dignity as a man, to stand on the street and beg for something like that. I asked him, if you can do it? He said, no. I said, then that man must be in some situation that he put himself beyond shame and dignity in order to get something to survive. So we nevertheless give him something. Not too much that he will buy drug or alcohol and things like that, but enough for him to survive for 1 or 2 days. Yeah, and then somebody else will help him along. Then he'll be all right. Or maybe his situation is better. One day I was in Vietnam too when I was younger. I'm still young, but when I was very, very young. I was shopping in the market in Saigon, and then there was a lady, very old, not very old, around 60, very noble looking, good clothes, yeah, and good bearing. But she come and crying and begging everybody for some money, because all her money has been stolen from her and she can't go back home. Her house is in a different province, it's not in Saigon. And she was crying and begging all the time, and nobody believed her, nobody gave her anything, because she looked so good, well-groomed, and her clothes were expensive. Nobody believed that she needs anything. And then when she come to me, I asked her, but why you have to be in such a needy position? You look very well. Would you please tell me? And she said, she's been robbed. And since yesterday she has nothing to eat, nowhere to sleep, and she don't know how to go home. Yeah. She said normally she's not a beggar. That is true. But in this situation, she can't do anything else. So please help her. So I took out whatever money I had at that time and give it all to her. It wasn't much, perhaps, but it's enough for her to get a bus ticket and go home. And so she was so happy that just in one time she has enough money to go and don't have to go back on the street anymore. So she prostrate in front of me, on the street. I was so scared. I jumped back. I said, oh, please, don't do that, Mama. You're old enough to be my mother. In Vietnam, people are very respectful of the old person, And if the old person pay respect to you, it's very scary. And I was very young at that time. So I was very scared. So I'm just telling you that this kind of situation of poverty and needy people are everywhere, even in the most powerful and rich country, as you know yourself. And so, I don't know why I talk so much about poverty. We have everything here. We don't have the sun. I put some sun for you. Some things so that it shines a little bit. I feel you're more relaxed and more clean and more pure. Yeah, more natural. Many of the stone has become softened. So we can have good laugh today, and it was very good, huh? It was very good. At least in the last day we can laugh. So now we go to Japan, all right? We run around the world from America to Vietnam, Germany, France. Now we go to Japan, yeah? Finally. There was a king called Goyose. Yeah. He studied Zen under Gudo. Gudo was the name of a Zen master at that time. And so the king inquired the master, "Master, please tell me, in Zen, is our mind is the Buddha, is that correct?" So the Gudo master answered him, "If I say yes, you will think that you understand without truly understanding. If I say no, I would be contradicting a fact which many understand quite well." Now, that's the way Zen people talk. Very complicated. But you understood? No? Yes. You are Zen master. Look like. Yes. What he means is, since you don't understand, I pretend that I understand. And then maybe I pretend to explain to you. And then if you think you understand, you just pretend to tell me yes, all right? Otherwise, if since I'm a master, I'm supposed to know everything. And now if I pretend to say I don't know, then we are in trouble, huh? Now, why is that? The master say, normally people in China, in Zen, they say, everything comes from the mind. You know what I mean? So even Buddha, you create the Buddha yourself from your mind. So that's why the king asked the master whether it's really our mind is a Buddha. Apart from what we think, there's no Buddha. Is that correct? So the master said, if I say yes, then you think you understand. But then it's not really understanding. Why is it so? Because at that time, perhaps, the emperor has not reached the true level of understanding of this kind of thing. So if the master affirm his thinking or his knowledge, then he think, yeah, I understand. Just like many people come to us and discuss about books and what they know about Buddhism and what they know about Christianity and what they know about Zen and what not. And then they think they know everything. And if you affirm their view, you say, yes, what you say is correct. Then they think they understand even more. But actually, only conceptual understanding, not the true enlightenment. That's why the master says to the king, I cannot say yes to you. But that doesn't mean it's not true. Doesn't mean what he says is not true. But what it means is that what he understood is not yet the complete picture. Just like I told you today, if you read a kind of fairy tale story, it doesn't mean that you have come in contact with the person inside the story, right? You read the Cinderella story, that doesn't mean you know Cinderella. Similarly, when we read scriptures and all kind of sutras, that doesn't mean we know the Buddha or we know the preacher. Many of you read books before you see me, right? Before initiation, read my books, the book that the people write about me. But that doesn't mean you know me, right? Until you come in contact with us and get initiation, you don't truly know what Qinghai is and who she is and what she talks about. You can read the sentence and everything, but you don't know the thing that she gives without talking, right? Until after initiation. Same thing. The king was probably just newly initiated, or maybe 修方便法, you know. Maybe just a convenient method. 10-day vegetarian. So he probably tried to go to the master, approach the master, and trying to ease some of his understanding, and then thinking that by asking and talking, he will understand what Zen is all about. That's why the master told the king, it's in effect like what you know is just theory, You don't truly understand. That's why I cannot confirm your question. But then if he say his question is not correct, if he say the king's knowledge is what the king have heard is not correct, that's also not true. Because truly what everything comes from the mind, the heart. The mind or the heart doesn't mean the brain, huh? It doesn't mean the physical heart. It's just the thinking process. It's the illusionary world in which we weave our very dream world and every kind of imaginary scenery and level of consciousness. So as long as we still can think, we still can imagine, then we can create a very illusionary Buddha of our own. Huh? That's why every person's concept about Buddha is different. Unless we have a direct contact with the Buddha nature, like most of the initiated people do by us, then the Buddha always remain a kind of figure, kind of imagination to suit our own taste. So everyone Buddha is different. Therefore, he say if he say yes, also not correct. If he say no, it's not correct. Some Zen people, some Zen experts, they can talk about this sentence for many years. You know that, yeah? Sometimes they sit there or they lay there on the stand and they go around with one sentence all the time. Who am I? Oh, mu. What is mu? Or what is emptiness? What is u? U means emptiness, thing like that. And they go around all their life running around with that question, with that sentence. So actually we solve the problem quickly, right? In a few minutes we have finished already the half of the story. Well, nearly half. Most of the Zen story are very short. So I have to put a lot of pepper and salt and all kind of condiment, a kind of spice to make it longer. Otherwise, I just sit here, read the story, 2 minutes, and goodbye. And both of us don't understand anything. Most of the Zen stories are very complicated. Short, concentrated, but very mysterious. And that is the important part about Zen. So that everybody think, wow, oh, that man, he talks and I can never figure out what he says. Oh, he must be very enlightened, wise person. Whatever he talks, nobody understands. Okay. Yeah, that's the problem. So now, another day, the king, I don't know if he was satisfied or dissatisfied with the answer of the master. But the book didn't say anything. Just stop there. Okay. So I guess the king probably pretended to be satisfied, just like we did. So they can continue their Zen lesson and relationship, so that the king would not lose his face, that the master would not scold him and think, my God, such a stupid emperor you are. How can you become king when you're so stupid? So he pretended to understand. So the story did not continue after that. So it says that sometime later, one day, the emperor asked his master again, Master, where does the enlightened man go after he die? Wow, that's a very good question. Do you know where he goes after we die? Yeah, you know? Really, you do? Fantastic. Because I don't. And then Guru answer, Master say, I don't know. Same like me. He said, I don't know. And the emperor was very surprised. I asked, Master, why you don't know? So the master said, because I have not died yet. So, you think that's a very correct answer? And then it's supposed to be here like the emperor hesitated to inquire further about this kind of things that his mind cannot understand. But then he was a little bit, reluctant to leave and just kind of stay in between asking or being quiet or going and leaving, didn't know what to do. So the master is supposed to beat the hand on the floor like that. And then caused the king to be enlightened. So the emperor was enlightened. You think it's so easy? Yeah? No? So what happened here? Huh? He pretend to be enlightened. Perhaps this is more or less, huh? Because the emperor was the highest personage in a country, especially in Japan. The king was made God incarnate, you know. So in that case, nobody has never scolded him before in his life, or even make noise in front of his presence. So therefore he was very shocked. Yeah, perhaps he's shocked, and then everything's gone from him. And then perhaps because he was so shocked, his mind, his complicated, calculating mind, stopped functioning for a split second. And then at that time, perhaps he was, empty enough, clear enough, pure enough to receive a flash of intuition knowledge. Perhaps it's like that. Or he was so frightened, he fainted. And then other people think he was in samadhi. Well, you have to save the king's face. You know, you can't say he fainted or collapsed. You must say he's in samadhi. Perhaps that's how the story goes. You see, even the king, if he has so much nonsense, the master will not beat him, but beat the floor. A symbolic, you know, you don't beat the king. Huh? Besides, what for do you beat a person? Huh? If a good person, you just beat the floor, he understands. Hmm? So you see, when you come to a master, you must forget that you are a king. You must forget that you are a professor. You must forget that you are a very important or rich person in the society. Or you must forget even that you have some spiritual knowledge beforehand. Otherwise, you can't understand much, because you are full of preconceived idea, and then whatever the master say, you just try to pull it into your own direction and understand it in the old way of habitual thinking, without truly understand the essence of the master teaching. So it's good in this situation that at least the king has forgotten his position and let the master scold him. It happened also with me recently in Africa. I met a prince, and he wanted so much to be initiated, but sometimes he wanted in a prince way, you know. I said, I don't want to accept you as disciple. You leave my room right now. So he came home, and afterward he telephoned and said, nobody ever screamed at me like this before. But I let you. I said, what do you mean I let you? I scream at everybody. Don't you know that? So, but he was, you know, trying his best to pretend to be humble. So after a while, at least he understood, you know, and he tried hard. But it's very difficult for some person in a high position to humble himself. Yeah. But I don't care. Whatever I have to do, I do. I don't care who he is. I was very polite, very, I would say, accommodating to him, but to a certain extent. Then he has to know. He has to know not to push me. Yes. Because he's a prince, and many people, many so-called spiritual practitioners or master in his land was running after him, you know, and praising him, of course, and even if can accept him as a disciple is an honor for them, for their group and for their sect, thing like that. So he's not used to with the truth. I said to him, perhaps you have many friends, perhaps you know many people, perhaps you have many teachers, but I don't think anybody ever taught you anything, because they don't teach you. They just make you feel good. They just tell you whatever you like to hear. And just make you understand whatever you want to understand, or you already understood, confirming your viewpoint. But nobody has ever really taught you. You say, yes, that's why, I know. That's why I come to you, so please teach me. I said, it's very difficult to teach you but maybe I try. And then it's just difficult, but okay, it's his choice. I have tried my best, and if he can make it better, it's good for him. And I must admit that he has a very, very sincere heart to try to be humble. Sometimes he cried, but he did not fight back, you know. He did not try to contradict me or do something. He was very sincere. At least in his position and his way of life, he was very humble, trying very hard. I appreciate his effort. But since he has to go all his way, you know, himself, so I said to him, whatever I give you today, you save it and slowly use it. And we see each other. He want to leave everything and come with me every day, everywhere. I said, some other time we see each other. So when I can run to Paris, I was so happy to escape, escape from a persistent disciple. And then he said, oh, please, 2 days later I come to Paris, see you, and everywhere you go, I go with you. I said, what for? He said, well, I do anything you want. I said, I don't need anybody. I said, already a few people around me already make me crazy. One more person, I die. But he likes to, we call him Teddy Bear. He looks like a black bear. He likes the name, his Christian name, because no one has ever been impolite to him or called him like that, but he liked it. Okay, so that's one of the story. You have to forget your position, your power, and your secular or spiritual knowledge if you want to learn something new from a higher order, from a true teaching, from a true master. Huh? Okay, so now, the emperor is supposed to be enlightened after the teacher bang on the floor like that. So, after that, since then, the king has become a very devoted disciple of this master and respected him very much. He became more and more enlightened each day. Perhaps not because of the bang on the floor, but because of the initiation afterward. Probably the master was fed up with so many of his 1001 bookish questions, so he just said, enough, go over there, sit, something like that, perhaps. And then after the initiation, in this way, he became enlightened, more enlightened, more enlightened. So the emperor is supposed to respect his teacher very much, that even in the royal court, he has allowed the teacher to wear the hat in the winter, because the master is getting older. Yeah. And one time he was very old and he sat there and give lecture to people, and then he fell asleep. The emperor quietly retired to another place and let the master sleep. Yes. So that is the end of the story. Let me see. There are many stories, but I don't know if I should tell. A tunnel. No? There was a person, you know, in the practicing people, they are full of questions. They read too much of any holy books, and they come to me and throw all stones at me, you know, like question, why, how. In the Buddha Sutra, it says that, why you say this, you know what I mean? Because what they understand is different of the true meaning. So I have a lot of headaches sometimes like that. Yeah. So this is one of the story about how Zen master also have to digest this kind of headache every day, because there are always new people come all the time. Like they read so many books and they come and would ask me about book inside, and then they probably understand differently and will not agree with what we understand, because we have direct knowledge and they have books knowledge. And sometimes people go shopping around for different master and teacher and school techniques, and they would come and would make trouble for me. Like I have to explain why in their school they teach like this and that other, or whether in their school it says it's the best method, why I say here is also the best, thing like that, you know. So if you want to progress in any kind of study, you should just follow one, okay? If you think this is good for you, you follow. If you think that's good for you, you just go. No, nobody can decide for you. Because, as I told you, children from kindergarten school cannot be forced to study in college anyhow, or vice versa. So you have to find what is suitable for you. If you come to ask me, Master, I have followed another teacher before and he teach this and that, and now I follow you, which one is better? What do you say? Even between Kuan Yin school, many people teach light and sound, for example, then there is still the difference. Yeah? You have affinity with which master, and which master's style suits you better, make you quicker, enlightened, make you understand deeper, yeah, and make your life change faster, yeah, and then make your love more open, your wisdom about everyday and things like that. So you have to know yourself. You have to trust your own intuition. If you come and ask me, which master is good? Of course I say, Master Ching Hai, because at the moment I know that's the only good master that I know. How do I know other master is good? Put it that way. How do I know? I only know what I know, right? The most intimate person is myself. The only person I can guarantee to you 100% is myself, whether bad or good. I can only tell you about myself. Other people, personality, level of practice is none of my business. Why should I go and poking my nose into other people's level and way of teaching and criticize or praise whether it's good or bad? You know what I mean? You are the one who must decide, right? So many questions should not be asked in the first place. Now, this is one of the, boring type of student here. There's a story. The story is called How Grass and Trees Also Become Enlightened. Now, during the Kamakura period, it must be in Japan, Shinkan studied Tiandai sect, Tiantai in Chinese, for 6 years, and then studied Zen 7 more years. Oh God! And then he went to China and contemplated Zen for 13 years more. In the old time, when you have some money and you have some travel expenses enough, you can go anywhere. Not better in the old time, and it was a long time ago. And he still can manage to go to China for 13 years. So must be a very sincere, devoted, truth seeker. Now, when he returned to Japan, many people in Japan desired to interview him and ask many obscure questions. But then, whenever this then Master Shinkan received visitors, he seldom answered any of their questions. You see? But one day, a 50-year-old student of enlightenment said to Shinkan, I have studied the Tendai school of thought since I was a little boy, but one thing in it I cannot understand. Because Tendai school claims that even the grass and the trees will become enlightened. To me, this seems very strange. Does it seem strange to you? Does it? Yes, it does. Really? Haven't you seen a tree enlightened before? Okay, so now the master perhaps too tired after seeing too many persons. So he said, why you ask me so this useless question? And the enlightened, 50 years enlightenment person said to him, it's important to me. Oh, please answer. So the master say, the question is not how grass and trees can become enlightened, but how you yourself become enlightened. Right? And so the person supposed to be more enlightened now. So I said, I never thought of it this way. So the master said, okay, now go home and think about it. So that's how he get rid of the enlightened person. You see, that's how people ask you all the time. Many people come to any master, not just learn, but in this case, the man is sincere. So at least he's very sincere. He didn't want to show off his knowledge or to argue with the master, really. But he truly wanted to know because he didn't know. Even after 50 years of enlightenment in Tiandai school, he did not know how grass and tree can become enlightened. So many people ask such useless questions like that. You know very well, huh? When you go into any Zen school, they would ask you, do you know what is the purpose of Bodhidharma went to China? Things like that, you know. So sometimes the master was fed up in the old time. They get a chair and then bang over his head. I don't say nothing. But in the old time, people are more gentle. If the master did that to them, they will consider that as an honor. And even though they didn't get enlightened, you know, through that, at least they saw some light, you know, flashing light. They saw stars and things like that. When the chair was banged on their head, well, at least they saw some light. So maybe they pretend, at least if they're not enlightened, they pretend that they got some enlightenment. So they consider the master treat them like that is an honor. The more of such questions they know, the better Zen practitioner they supposed to be. So it happened to such situation and such a kind of practicing fashion breeds a lot of funny story, yeah, or some kind of a little bit funny, some kind of a little bit traumatic things. There are some books, you know, in which all kind of such question is answered. Yes, and the more koan you can solve, the more enlightened you're supposed to be. So some monks are impatient; they just buy it quickly. 170 koan solved in half an hour, and then when they answer the master, and then the koans passed, and then they became master. In that way, enlightenment is quicker, more than immediate. In our place, we call immediate enlightenment, that's for sure. But then we have to sit there for 2 hours, listen to all kind of instructions and rules and all that. So there are different kind of objects, different price. Some people also go and ask me similar question like, what kind of level, you know, such and such person is, what kind of level Kuan Yin Bodhisattva is, and things like that. I said, you better know what kind of level you are in. It's better for you than to check up on Bodhisattva. Yes, it's similar story. Yeah, many people cannot subdue their arrogance, cannot take the pain for their pride. Therefore, very difficult to learn. No? Maybe some story for you. There was a story, very cute. It's a short story, okay? Light and doesn't matter if you understand or not. Okay. This is a story called A Dreamland. Okay, one at a time. A disciple of Soyen Shaku related the story that his master used to take a nap every afternoon. Instead of listening to the inner sound, maybe a different kind of Kuan Yin method. He wake up also feeling very refreshed and recharged. So one disciple said that his master always take a different kind of Kuan Yin every day, afternoon. So then the students always ask the master, why you do it? You know, why you take a nap every afternoon? So the master always answer them, I go to dreamland, you know, beyond this world, and I saw old master like Confucius when in the old time, Confucius used to say he goes to the dreamland, yeah, he dream, maybe he meditate, and go to beyond the world and see other master. So he said he did that just as Confucius did before, went up and see some other master. Because when Confucius slept, he would dream of ancient sages and later tell his followers about these sages. Well, you know the story, huh? Sometimes you meditate, huh? It looks like you sleep, but you go up and you see some of the ancient master, and then you converse to them. Okay? So we understand very well what Confucius did, all right. But then one day it was very hot, and the disciple worked very hard, so they all took a nap too, you know, tired, and then they all went and make take a siesta. And then the schoolmaster scolded them, said, "You lazy, so young and sleeping in the afternoon. What's the matter with you? Huh? Why don't you meditate like me?" Okay. So the disciples said, "Well, we went to the dreamland as Confucius did." And then, so the master said, "All right, then tell me, what was the message? What did the master in the dreamland say?" And so one of the students said, "Well, we went to dreamland and met the sages and the ancient masters, and then we asked them whether our schoolmaster came there every afternoon or not." And all the ancient master and the sages say, "No, they never ever seen him before." You like that, huh? You like the student who can beat the master. This story I told you already, but perhaps you can hear it again. There was a master called Joshua. He began to study Zen when he was 60 years old. He nearly reached the age of non-initiated possible. But then he managed, 60 years old. And then he continued until he was 80. It takes 20 years. And then he became realized, perhaps fully enlightened. And then he taught people from 80 until 120. Ooh. In that case, you still have a lot of future. If I live until 120, my God, I still have 80-something years. Oh, no. This is too frightening to think about. Okay, so now, a student once asked him, "Master, if I have nothing in my mind now, what shall I do?" I mean, he's already empty, very full of relaxation and no desire, no lust, no wanting, nothing anymore. So I said, "If I have nothing in my mind now, what shall I do, Master?" So the master said, "Throw it away." And the student insists, "But I have nothing. How can I throw away?" Then the master said, "Okay, then keep it." You understand? Okay, then keep it. No? You don't? You do, huh? Well, he said he has nothing, but then he insists so much. So okay, then keep it. He has too much to throw out. Okay, understand, huh? Many people think they are empty, and they are attain the Tao, or they realize Buddhahood and things like that, and they think they have no more desire, and nothing, and that they wear baggy clothes and they shave their head, and they're okay, they're all empty, But actually, it's not so. Emptiness is not from outside, it's from within. And as soon as you realize that you're empty, you are not. Because there's still realization there, And the Zen smell is very strong. People call it Zen sickness. Huh? So in case you have that, better go see doctor. And throw it out. When we do not know anything, we just an ordinary person, then we do not know so much. Then we think we don't know. But as soon as we meditate for some time, then we think we know. Then after some of the time, and then we think we don't know again. So that's the best time, when we don't know. This is the time when we know best. If we are still full of knowledge and knowing and things like that, that means we are still halfway only. So actually, all the things I'm telling you, it's just to amuse you, okay? To pass our time together, so that when you come home, for the human's emotion, for the human's mind and heart, you feel that you have got something from the Master. Yes, but nevertheless, the things you realize is inside. It's not from my word. Of course, my word of encouragement and of reminding, maybe sometimes helps you, to comfort you in some situation, and to change some of your undesirable personality trait. But it's not the enlightenment. Enlightenment has nothing to do with personality, good or bad, moral or imperfection. Enlightenment is just our pure selves, never change, never become better, never become worse, never has been ignorant, and never has become enlightened again. It's always there. It has always been, it will always be, and it is now. So all these stories, explanation, and all my so-called secular knowledge, just amusement, just so that we have contact with each other in a personal level, so that we're happy together, okay? These are not the true teaching. The true teaching is always languageless, and you always know it. You know it inside, precisely, perfectly, without anything explaining, without no exchanging of words, right? But we both have to pretend that we need all this, so that I have some job to do, so that you have a reason to come, yeah, and then some good memory to bring home with. That's all. Okay, there's a story called Zen in a Beggar's Life. Okay. Tolstoy was a well-known Zen teacher of his time. He had lived in several temples and taught in various provinces. He was a famous teacher of his time, has many students, and has a lot of temples and things like that. But the last temple he visited accumulated so many disciples that Tolstoy, the master, told them he was going to quit the lecture business entirely. Wow. Perhaps too many people. Huh? And he feel that people just go there without a real motive. When there are too many people assembled together, maybe the master ordinary of a little bit more young, medium master can't handle. Yeah? Because in the old time, mostly the Zen people, they accept only a certain amount of disciples, as much as they can handle. Still now. One Zen master I know in Taiwan, he only accepts about 25 to 50, at least at the maximum 50% for a 7-day retreat, because he said he can't handle more than that. Not because of the place. I don't know why he can't handle more than that, but well, that's his business. He never tell me. Secret. Anyhow, so maybe the same in Zen temple, to accept just certain amount of people. But he was so famous, and too many people come to him, so he decided to quit his job. So he said, tell them go anywhere they want and do whatever they like. Yeah. And then after that, he dispersed all the disciples, and then he left. And nobody ever can find him anywhere anymore. He just disappeared. Wow, that's a good idea. Very interesting. I keep thinking about that idea many times, but just keep thinking, and then all my energy is spent on thinking, and then I don't do anything about it yet. Not yet. I still continue to think. So he disappeared like that. Nobody can ever find him. 3 years later, one of his ex-disciple, there's a thing, ex-wife, ex-husband, ex-president, and ex-disciple. One of his ex-disciple discovered him somewhere under the bridge. Yeah, because he lives together with the beggars. And the beggars, those homeless people, they mostly find a bridge, under the bridge somewhere, and they settle down there. Did you see something like that? Somewhere? Where? In Germany? In Poland? Stockholm too? Okay. And in India, yeah, most of the monks, yeah, they just beg for food, and then when they go home, they sleep under the bridge. Yeah. The bridge, there's some kind of compartment, you see? Yes, it looks like a small room, and then they find shelter there, and then they cover themselves, so at least they can have something against the wind in some direction, not all direction. Yes, maybe one day the bridge is like this, and one day the wind blow from this way, and then they sleep here. And next day the wind blow from that way, and they sleep over there. So it's not bad, you know. It's no door and no lock and no need to worry about thieves or anything. Very interesting life. So one day, the disciple found him along, together with these beggars. So, in Kyoto, you know Kyoto, Japan, the capital of Buddhism in Japan, the capital of spiritual practice in Japan in the old time. And still now is still a lot of temples there. It's a very interesting place to visit if you want to. I'm not sure because I have never visited. Everybody tell me to go there, yes, for enlightenment. Maybe I save it when I have no more disciple, I'm old, I have no more teeth, and I can go there for enlightenment. So the disciple discovered the master again and implored him to teach him as a disciple again. So the master refused, but the disciple insisted, as usual, always. The disciple know better. Must show sincerity, Anyhow, so he insists that the master accept him and teach him. So the master said, okay, if you can do as I myself do, whatever I do, if you can do for a few days, then I will think about accepting you as a disciple. So the teacher say, no problem. 没有问题. So former disciple dressed himself also as a beggar. He think that to make him entitled. Looks like a master, and wear drag, and uncamp and put some ash smear on his face. Like it looks very much like a beggar now. So stay a day with the master Toshi. The following day, one of the beggars died. One of them among them died. So Toshoi and his so-called disciple carried the body at midnight and then buried the body in a mountain place somewhere. After that, they returned and then to sleep in the night. The master slept very, very well, but the disciple could not even close the eyes for 1 second. He kept thinking of the dead body and the smell and the sight of it, the swollen faces and the protruding eyes and the nose water running and the unkempt and glad hair and the flies going to the nose and all kind of thing like that. And he can't sleep at all. But nevertheless, he stayed. But the worst thing comes in the morning. In the morning, the disciples prepare to go on begging with the master, as usual, because they're beggar, right? He thought to go begging is already the worst part of the beggar life. He could bear it, it's no problem. But then the master said, no, today we rest, we stay home. There's something left over there, because yesterday the dead person eat only half, and half of his food is left in his bowl. We can share it. There's still a lot of him, so we don't have to go back in. Yeah. So at lunchtime, the disciple packed his tattered belonging and said, "Sayonara." So if you think you can always follow a master, then you may try Kyoto Bridge, all right? See how you can fare. Yes, we always think we are not attached to everything, but it's not always the case, yeah? That's the problem with many of us, because we are too attached to one position or another, from one conception to another. We cannot truly put down the things of yesterday. It's a lot of difficulty. They cannot realize that whatever you are, in whichever situation, you just live that situation, and it's all right.